Hello there, friends. I have echolalia, and I recently found that out. I didn't know what it was. I was at work, and one of my friends at work has autism, and she was telling me, because I was telling her I'm pretty sure I have undiagnosed ADHD, which I absolutely do. And one thing that I was asking her, like asking her questions about her autism, and you know, because autism and ADHD kind of go hand in hand with a lot of different things. And one thing that I said, do you ever randomly quote things? And do you like have this, like you have to quote it? It's like a force that like makes you have to quote this thing in that moment. And she's like, yeah, that's called echolalia. And I had never heard of that word before, but finally, 26 years of living, of me doing this my entire fucking life, in elementary school, middle, high school, college, and now, I finally have a word for the weird quoting and random bursts of song that I do. It's called echolalia, and there's different forms of it. I do immediate and especially do delayed. By the way, echolalia. Let's go over the definition of echolalia. So echolalia, the definition on Google, is meaningless repetition of another person's spoken words or a symptom of psychiatric disorder. Repetition of speech by a child learning to talk. With all things echolalia that I've looked up, it always relates it to children. And children, typically children on the spectrum, use echolalia as a way to communicate. So if someone asks a child, do you want to go to the park today? The child might respond immediately with, do you want to go to the park today? And that's them saying, yes, I want to go to the park. But with the current tools that they have, they don't know how to phrase the sentence in their own way to respond. So they repeat the sentence back. That's immediate echolalia. Delayed echolalia is something that you hear and then you regurgitate it later. And I've always done that and never knew why, never knew what it was called. And yeah, it's delayed echolalia. So if you've caught me random times quoting shit while I'm playing video games, that's what that is. And some of you have commented, Brendo, you're like, boo, breaking out some Metallica. I didn't even remember doing that. A lot of times I quote things because whatever, there's like a word that triggers echolalia that I have. I recently was listening to a mashup of this guy on YouTube playing Master of Puppets in the style of Muse. And so in my head, all I had was, obey your master. And that one word, this is how echolalia works, at least for me it does. That one word was a trigger that told my brain to say, you have to sing this right now. It's not an option. This relates to this, say it. And that's how all of these work. And I recently started looking up more information about echolalia, which again, it's hard because it's a lot of parents or doctors showing children who are autistic and trying to force them to stop their echolalia. So there is not a lot of information on people who have echolalia, and there's not a lot of information on adults with echolalia. So that's part of the reason why I'm making this video. Also, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I shouldn't say wrong with me. I am different. I am a different human. I have a different brain. And I'm starting to try to understand what that means. So, I recently found out that echolalia also is a, under the blanket term of tics, because for a while I thought I had Tourette syndrome, because I couldn't figure out why I was quoting these things so much. So I think especially in college, I was looking up a lot of videos and things about Tourette syndrome and what categorizes having Tourette syndrome. So you have to have, from my understanding, you have to have 2 motor tics, and you have to have a verbal tic, which doesn't necessarily mean speaking. It could be something like, I only have one motor tic that I can think of that I believe is a tic. But the thing that's tricky about this is that it feels similar to a cold spell, but it's very different. It makes me jerk my head like this, and I have to kind of like hold it there a little bit. And that one started a few years ago, but I'd say like within the past year I've noticed it a lot more. The way that people describe having a tic as sneezing, that is the absolute, like, yes, that's how it feels. So I know I have at least one motor tic, but I can't think of any others. Now, at this current time in my life, I am very, I'm very detached from, I don't want to say my emotions, my feelings, that's probably not right either. Basically what's been going on is since I haven't been diagnosed with ADHD, when you grow up being told, why are you so lazy, just motivate yourself, man, she's so smart, if only she would, you know, put herself into practice and apply herself. When you're told these things over and over and over again, you start to believe them and you start to tell yourself these things. So when I start to feel angry about something, I would immediately push the feeling down and be like, stop feeling angry. The fuck is wrong with you? Don't be angry right now. Why are you angry? God, you're so sensitive. What the hell, boo? God, you're angry because your shoes got wet? Oh, what are you, a pussy? And so when I kept telling myself these things over and over and over again over the years, and you just get used to it. And I started to get depressed because, and I didn't know why. Instead of pushing my feelings down now, my sadness, my anger, when I start to feel them, instead I let them, you know, come up, and then I process them and go, okay, you started feeling sad recently. You were just happy a few minutes ago. What changed that? And now I start to analyze it instead of being like, what the fuck? Are you just a bitch? Which sounds harsh, but that's what's been going on in my head all these years. So, where was I going? I was talking about, oh, so Tourette syndrome and tics. So I can't tell currently at this point in my life if this thing that I do is a tic or not, because I, again, am so desensitized by feeling things that it's kind of hard. And it's the same with echolalia. There's a lot of times where these outbursts that I have feel like I have to get them out. And that could be a stimming thing, which stimming, if you are not familiar with stimming, so Google says stimming or self-stimulation behavior is repetitive or unusual body movement or noises. Stimming might include hand and finger mannerisms, for example, finger flicking and hand flapping, unusual body movements, for example, rocking back and forth while sitting or standing. I do the rocking back and forth a lot. I just noticed that I'm doing this. This is a form of stimming. And it's just like, it's like motions and things that just are repetitive and make you feel good. And specifically, yeah, if you had ADHD, autism, it's just unnatural looking movements that they just kind of help you get with it, you know? I don't know how to describe it. But with tics, to me, the echolalia that I do, they don't feel like stims. Again, at this current point in time, I'm bad at differentiating things. But why I think that my echolalia are tics, instead of just stims, they act like tics, where what I mean by that is people who, and I'm not an expert on Tourette syndrome, I haven't been diagnosed with Tourette's, I don't know, I just know from what I've seen and what I've heard people talk about with Tourette's. But with a tic, a lot of times when someone with Tourette syndrome gets a tic, it sticks around sometimes for a little bit, sometimes it'll only happen once, and then sometimes that tic is like, it'll just be there for a long time. And it's the same with my echolalia. There's some that will happen for a day and that's it. there's some that I have had for years. Like, I have just been doing this, like, quote, for years. And then there's some that I picked up recently because of the people I've been watching. So with that, obey your master, that's again because I was watching a video where someone was singing that. A recent one that has been driving me absolutely fucking bonkers because I do not like this one, but I have to keep singing it and saying it. I didn't even watch The Backyardigans growing up because that's a little bit like, I was a little too old for that when that was out. But Pablo the Penguin sings, "'Cause I'm an international super spy. Super spy!" I've been watching some TikTok compilations recently, and people have been using that, and my brain liked it for some reason, and now it wants to sing it all the time. So the other day when I was at work, I kid you not, for at least 3 fucking hours while I was at work, that motherfucking thing was on loop. And I don't know the full song, and this is a lot of times what happens with this echolalia that I have. This is literally what was happening in my brain. "'Cause I'm an international super spy. Super spy! 'Cause I'm an international super spy. Super spy! 'Cause I'm an international." Just over and over again for 3 fucking hours. At least 3 fucking hours. And the thing is, like, when you're at work, you know, I'm like kind of singing this under my breath. It's just repeating constantly in my head, but I feel like I just have to get this shit out. It's like, it just won't stop. And then I finally got home, and I just would not stop. And boyfriend is like, "What in the fuck are you singing? Why do you keep singing this?" I'm like, "'Cause I gotta get it out." And I couldn't stop. And I don't know if that's a tick. I don't know if it's just stimming, something that my brain latched onto and really likes with echolalia. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's weird, and it's definitely not normal. So that's my quest recently, is to try to figure out, okay, so I know I'm not normal. What kind of not normal am I? So boyfriend and I, we've actually been having, well, I've been having fun. I think he's been maybe enjoying this a little bit too. We've been trying to write down all of the echolalias that I've had, or ticks, if they are ticks. You know, the span that we've known each other. Because the more I get to know boyfriend, the more I just kind of say random shit around him. So some of the ones that I wrote down a bunch, but some of the ones that I like said or still say religiously, one of them is this video here.
Good. Yeah, it's good? Fucking good.
I think I finally am starting to fade this one out, thank God, but I for months was going fucking good, just walking through the apartment. No, and I'm not talking to anyone. Boyfriend's in the other room. My cats are just doing their thing, and I'm going fucking good. A lot of times when my echolalalias come out when I'm recording, it's because I'm not aware of them. And so they just kind of come out, and then a lot of times y'all write to me later and are like, "Oh, I got that reference. That was a wicked reference, right?" Like Gem Games, one day was like, "What? That was a wicked reference, right?" And I had to go back because Gem Games timestamped it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't even remember doing that." But the wicked reference is "Thank Goodness," which is the song "Thank Goodness" from Wicked. That the trigger to that is just a lot of times when I hear someone say "thank goodness," or sometimes when I say "thank goodness," when I'm playing a video game and let's say I almost died but I didn't, I'm like, "Oh, I almost died, but I'm good, thank goodness. Thank goodness!" I have to say it. For a while, this one kind of faded out. Every now and then I still do it as, "No, bear, no, stay away from that kayak." I definitely have done that one. I did it, I think when I was playing Tomb Raider, or whenever there's a bear. "No, bear, no! No, bear, don't attack my kayak! No, bear!" Oh, okay. One of them that oh my god, I was so fucking annoying yesterday. I was literally laying in bed and I wanted to go to sleep. It was so late and I'm laying in bed looking up at the ceiling. Boyfriend's next to me and I'm going, "Tutaru, orarin, tuturu." I haven't even watched all of Steins Gate. I think I've only seen episode 1, which I know is a sin. I gotta watch all of it because I've heard it's amazing. But the little thing that she does, the tutaru orarin. I have to do it. I do it all the time. I say it all the time. I'm just walking through the apartment. I'm heading to the bathroom. Tutaru orarin. Why? Why do I do it? I don't know. Oh, one that I do a lot. This one has actually come back. I used to do this one. It kind of faded away and now it's come back again, is the Animal Crossing Horizons theme. I haven't even played that game. I watched Boyfriend play it a little bit and that's all it took for me to just walk around going all the time. Okay, so like I was saying before, a lot of times whatever it is I'm watching more recently at that time, I tend to pick up whether it's echolalia or ticks. I don't know, but I've more recently been watching Sweet Anita. Love her. So one of them that I started doing ever since I started watching Sweet Anita in the past, like, I shouldn't say started, I've been watching her for a while, but recently got back like into watching a lot of her videos. I don't do the same pop that she does, but I've started going. I don't do her Twitter whistle, but I've been going, and it has to, oh, I almost did it. It has to be followed by a pop a lot of the time, so it's, and then sometimes I'll add a click on this side of my mouth, so it'll go, and then sometimes after that click, I'll alternate between some of the pops or the whistling, and then sometimes I'll also push my tongue up against the back of my teeth. I do that a lot. See, it's hard to do when I'm not actually trying to do it, when it's not an echolalia or a tick. It's hard to actually do it in the way that I would do it, and it's always the same, which is another reason why I think it might be a tick, is because it's always the same. Same with the tutaru orarin. It'll always be the same pitch, always the same tone, always the same inflection. It doesn't change. Another one that I picked up from Sweet Anita is egg salad on a bitch. Egg salad on a bitch. One that I feel bad like that I picked this one up because it's in the video where she's suppressing and she's seeing how long she can go, and it's when she finally can't anymore, and like I know there's a lot going on like stress wise in her that she's now releasing all it, but I have to a lot of times go, I have a dick, I have a dick, I have a dick, I have a dick, I have a tasty fucking dick.
I have a dick, 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 I have a tasty fucking dick.
And that's another one I'm just cooking. I have a dick, I have a dick, I have a dick, I have a dick, I have a tasty fucking dick. That one, I try to control myself so I don't say that one super often. If they're harmless, then I kind of, like, sometimes I'll let them filter through, but a lot of times, like, if I know that they're bad, like the I have a dick one, or egg salad on a bitch, I try to pull them away so they don't actually come out. When I'm alone, I'm home alone, boyfriend's at work, and it's just me and the kitties, I just let it all out. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. Oh, when I was, watching a lot of Midnight Gospel, for a while, one of them was Trudy.
Hello again, Trudy. Trudy.
Trudy. So I have some others written down, but those are the ones that, no, there's one more. I still quote this one a lot, and this is one that has been around for fucking ever. Like, probably since high school, when I got really, really into Invader Zim, and I still say, I got chocolate bubblegum!
I got chocolate bubblegum!
Yeah, friends, this is the weird rabbit hole that I've started to go down, and why I've been so bad with uploading videos is because a lot of times I get home from work, and instead of recording a video, I go on the internet and look up things about ADHD, autism, tics, and other weird things that I've been learning about. So it's been interesting. It's been pretty nice because I feel like I'm finally getting answers for a lot of the questions I've had my entire life. Why do I do these certain things? Oh, it turns out, boo, a lot of people do this, and here's the condition that goes along with it. I felt weird though recording this video. It's hard to post something like this when you don't have that official doctor diagnosis stamp of approval, because it sounds like you're crazy and you're making things up to get attention. But I've never like made up a condition before. So this is the way I see it. I either have ADHD or I have something else in my brain that is giving me amnesia and putting fake memories in my head that make me believe that I am associating with having ADHD, but I actually don't have ADHD. I have something else that's convincing me that I have ADHD. So I think one of those sounds a lot more prominent than the other. Yeah, so at this time I'm gonna say I am Boo Tedesco. I have ADHD, I definitely have echolalia, and possibly some other things that I need to get checked out. At the end of the day, you know your brain better than anyone else, and that's what I'm going off of. Brain, you can be silly and goofy sometimes, but yeah, it's with me. It's my brain, and if I could pull you all in to show you what's going on in my brain, you'd be like, wow, that's fucking chaotic. Yeah, but that's why it's fun. I'm trying to unmask a bit more and trying to be more of myself and let my echolalias kind of run more. Or if they're tics, I don't know. So if you find that I'm quoting things a lot more, it's not that I'm purposefully trying to do it, it's that I'm not holding back as much. So yeah, if you have echolalia or if you have tics or anything like that, and you want to share some info with me, that would be fantastic, because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So yeah, not a video game video, but here it is. This is the one. And learning some more about myself and sharing some more about myself with you all. So thanks for sticking around. If you like this video, I'm not gonna do that. Bye, friends!